Welcome to Sonara's Deep Dive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're immersing ourselves in one of the world's youngest and I think one of its most dynamic global faiths. This is a tradition that, despite its foundational emphasis on humility and universal equality, has really been forged in the crucible of centuries of conflict, persecution, and, well, displacement.
Right.
We're exploring how Sikh identity is defined not just by deep spiritual practice, but through this unwavering, very public adherence to physical markers that signify both devotion and resistance.
We are, of course, talking about Sikhism. It's a tradition that anchors itself, so firmly in the history and geography of the Indian subcontinent.
Specifically the Punjab region.
Specifically Punjab, yes. But today it is flourishing globally. I mean, we're looking at a community of approximately 25 to 30 million adherents worldwide.
It's a huge number.
It is. And with these really deep-rooted and established communities in places like Canada, the UK, and the United States.
Our sources for this deep dive are, well, they're extensive. They cover the deep theological roots, the intricate daily rituals, the formal codes of conduct, and a history that's marked by, frankly, truly staggering devotion and equally staggering trauma. Our mission today is to explore those foundations, the profound daily practices, and the often tumultuous history of Sikhism, ensuring you walk away understanding what defines this incredibly resilient and unique global identity.
To start, I think we have to identify the spiritual anchor of the entire faith, because everything, and I mean everything, flows from this single central concept.
Okay.
And that anchor is the Guru Granth Sahib. This scripture is revered not merely as a sacred book or, a collection of texts.
It's more than that.
So much more. It's revered as the living guru. This is the perpetual, eternal spiritual guide for the entire Sikh community, installed after the time of the 10th human guru.
That concept of a transition from a human to, well, an eternal doctrine is fascinating. The lineage itself begins with Guru Nanak, right, the founder.
Yes, he lived from 1469 to 1539, and he's the one who established the core spiritual principles of the faith.
And he was followed by 9 successors.
He was. And critically, these subsequent gurus are not seen as replacements. They're seen as manifestations of the very same spiritual light or spirit that resided in Guru Nanak.
So one spirit in 10 different bodies.
One spirit in 10 bodies carrying forward the exact same message.
And that chain culminates with the 10th and last human master, Guru Gobind Singh. It was his pivotal, truly monumental decree that formalized this transition from human leadership to doctrine.
He was the one who declared that the scriptural text itself, the completed codified words of the masters, the Guru Granth Sahib, would from that point on be the eternal guru.
And this transition is absolutely foundational to understanding the structure of authority in Sikhism.
It's the ultimate statement of spiritual decentralization, It makes the doctrine, the divine word itself, the only true authority. And this understanding of authority leads us directly into a closer look at the scripture and the sacred spaces that are built around it.
Okay, so let's unpack the extraordinary authority vested in the Guru Granth Sahib. The composition of this text isn't just a historical footnote. It's a deliberate act of organization and theological centralization.
It truly is. The text originated as the Adi Granth. This vast collection was primarily organized and compiled by Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the 5th Sikh guru, and its completion date is 1604 AD.
And his task was, I imagine, monumental.
Oh, completely. He gathered and organized the compositions, the hymns, the teachings of the preceding 4 gurus, and then he added his own compositions as well.
But what makes the Adi Granth and then later the Guru Granth Sahib so unique is its inclusion of voices from, well, far beyond just the Sikh lineage.
That's a crucial point. It really speaks to the faith's universality. Guru Arjan also included these revered songs and compositions from numerous saints and devotees. They're known as fagats.
And these were people from all different backgrounds.
All different backgrounds. Highly diverse religious and caste backgrounds, including both Hindu and Muslim figures like Kabir, Ravidas, and Namdev. This created a profound synthesis of spiritual wisdom.
So it was intended from the very beginning, not just as an internal Sikh document, but as this spiritual masterpiece designed to transcend specific religious boundaries, cultural origins, and social class.
Precisely. The goal was to offer spiritual guidance, profound comfort, and a direct universal connection to the divine for anyone who read or listened to it. The sources emphasize that its teachings aren't merely about establishing religious rules.
They're more of a blueprint.
A blueprint for living a meaningful, compassionate, and ethical life, universally.
And the ultimate spiritual seal on this authority, the concept that really solidifies this perpetual role, is that final decree of Guru Granth.
Which is the command that the scripture itself must be acknowledged and revered as the eternal guru.
That declaration ensures that the authority rests perpetually with the divine word. It elevates the scripture above the potential fallibility of any individual leader or priest or any earthly figure.
Absolutely. And as a result, the reverence shown to the Guru Granth Sahib within Sikh houses of worship, the Gurdwaras, is absolute. It mirrors the respect that was previously given only to the living gurus.
And when you enter a Gurdwara, you instantly recognize the centrality of the scripture. I mean, it is never placed casually.
That's right. The Guru Granth Sahib is placed on a large raised platform called a throne, or manji sahib, often covered by a canopy, the chanani. It visibly symbolizes its supreme importance as the head of the congregation.
And the etiquette surrounding this space is very structured.
Highly structured, all reinforcing that reverence.
So what are the key protocols devotees have to follow when they approach the guru?
Well, the protocol begins outside. Devotees must remove their shoes and cover their heads. This symbolizes humility and respect before the presence of the guru. Then, upon entering the main hall, the Darbar Sahib, they traditionally walk toward the scripture and show respect by touching their foreheads to the floor, a gesture known as Matha Tekna, before offering a contribution. The entire atmosphere is one of profound respect, almost like a royal court.
One of the most fascinating practical applications of the scripture's authority is the practice of taking the hukam, or the command. This isn't just reading, it's seeking daily guidance.
Hukam is essentially a spiritual consultation, a daily divine directive for the community and often for individuals who are seeking solace or direction. The process is very disciplined.
How does it work?
The scripture is ceremoniously open, and the reader looks for the hymn that begins on the top of the left-hand page.
And what if the hymn actually started on the previous page?
The rule, as it's detailed in the Rihat Maryada, is that you must turn back and read that entire hymn from its very beginning.
For the context.
For the full context. You continue to the end of the stanza where the name Nanak occurs. This ensures the full message is delivered, not just a random line. And the source specifies that just, raising the drapery and looking at the scripture without actually taking the hukam, the actual reading, is contrary to Gurmat, the Guru's way.
So it's not simply an optional reading, it's a mandatory act that closes specific communal sessions.
It is mandatory. The hukam must be taken at the conclusion of any congregational session or immediately following the ardas, which is the community's centralized prayer. It sets the spiritual tone for the day.
Beyond the local Gurdwara, the global Sikh community, the Panth, has a collective structure of authority centered around the 5 taks. These are the holy thrones of temporal and spiritual power.
These 5 taks represent the collective will and political conscience of the Sikh people. Each one holds immense historical and spiritual significance. The primary and most significant is the Sri Akal Takht.
The throne of the Immortal One.
Yes, and it's situated right within the Golden Temple complex in Amritsar.
And what is its specific function?
The Akal Takht is the seat of temporal authority. Historically, it was where the gurus sat to discuss matters of political and military strategy. Today, it is where decrees, or huknamas, on doctrinal and community issues are issued to the global Sikh community. It's the highest court.
The highest court of spiritual and temporal judgment.
Exactly.
And what about the others?
Well, we have Takht Sri Damdama Sahib, known as the resting place. It's historically significant because it's where Guru Gobind Singh rested and completed the final revision of the Guru Granth Sahib.
Yep.
Then there is Takht Sri Harmandir Sahib, located in Patna, Bihar, which is the birthplace of Guru Gobind Singh.
And the final 2.
Takht Sri Hazur Sahib in Nanded, Maharashtra, marks the site where Guru Gobind Singh passed away and where he decreed the Guru Granth Sahib as the eternal guru.
A pivotal location.
Hugely. And finally, there is Takht Sri Kashgar Sahib in Anandpur Sahib, Punjab. This is arguably the most historically important site aside from the Akal Takht, as it is the birthplace of the Khalsa, where the first 5 initiated Sikhs were baptized.
So these 5 thrones collectively embody the birth, formation, authority, final decree, and resting place of the faith's leadership.
It's a powerful, unified structure.
And visually, a universal marker of this global faith is the flag.
That's the Nishan Sahib. This flag should be installed at a high-level site, a prominent staff in every single Gurdwara across the world. The cloth itself should be either a saffron yellow or a grayish blue.
And it's always topped with a symbol.
Always. Topped with a spearhead or a khanda, which is that famous circular double-edged sword symbol. It is a visual proclamation of the panth's presence and sovereignty.
So part 1 established the ultimate authority, the Guru Granth Sahib.
Ah.
Now we move to how that timeless wisdom translates into the practical day-to-day existence of a Sikh.
Right.
This is where the standardized code of conduct, the Rehat Maryada, comes into play.
The introduction of the Rehat Maryada was a critical moment for Sikh cohesion, mainly because of the vast geographical spread and the need for uniformity.
Right, because the Guru Granth Sahib provides the spiritual blueprint, but not the practical structure for organizing the community.
Exactly. It intentionally lacked the detailed, practical structure needed to arrange the community, standardize gurdwaras, and ensure uniformity in rituals and rites.
So it was less about adding new theology and more about operationalizing the existing theology.
Precisely. The formal standardization process took years. It was drafted between 1932 and 1936 and finally approved in 1945 by the Shiromani Gurdwara Parbantak Committee, or SGPC.
And we should probably define the SGPC.
We should. It is the principal statutory body that manages and controls the historical Gurdwaras in India. Its approval gave the Rehat Maryada its centralized authority, helping to foster global cohesion and standardized practices wherever a Gurdwara was established.
The significance of adherence to this code was stressed by Guru Gobind Singh himself, underscoring that discipline is not optional.
His statement on discipline is one of the most powerful mandates in the faith. He stated, "It is a Sikh's code of conduct that I love, not the Sikh without it." And he continued with a warning, emphasizing that without discipline or rehat, a Sikh would constantly suffer setback and confusion. So the code is the framework that allows the faith to function as a distinct, unified community.
And part of that distinctiveness means clearly demarcating boundaries, outlining what Sikhs should actively reject or abstain from.
That's a key function of the code, especially given the diverse religious environment of India. The Rehat Maryada details what Sikhs should not believe in or accord authority to. This includes rejecting the holiness of Brahmins, prohibiting belief in Muslim seers, soothsayers, clairvoyants, oracles, or practicing rituals like offering sweet loaves at graves to fulfill wishes. It demands a singular focus on the teachings of the gurus.
And this singular focus extends even to other respected sacred texts.
Correct. The study of the books of other faiths, the Vedas, the Gita, the Quran, it's admissible, even encouraged for general self-education and knowledge.
But they're not to be given religious authority.
Explicitly not. They are not to be accorded religious authority within Sikh practice or worship. The devotion, the seeking of divine guidance, must flow entirely from the teachings of the gurus as contained in the Guru Granth Sahib.
Now let's bring this down to the individual level. The code mandates the structure of personal daily practice.
Nitnem.
Nitnem. It translates literally to daily discipline. It is the set collection of selected Sikh prayers, or Gurbani, that must be recited aloud every single day. This routine is crucial for centering the mind and ensuring continuous remembrance of God.
And the day is punctuated by 3 specific recitation periods.
Morning, evening, and before sleep.
The morning session is the longest and most critical for establishing a spiritual foundation for the day. Can you walk us through those 5 specific compositions?
Absolutely. The morning sequence, performed before dawn, consists of 5 banas. First, Japji Sahib.
This is the most famous one, right?
It is. Composed by Guru Nanak, it serves as the opening chapter of the Guru Granth Sahib, and it really encapsulates the entire Sikh theology. It is the spiritual GPS for the day. Okay, what's next?
Second is Japs Sahib, composed by Guru Gobind Singh. This text focuses on describing God's attributes in this very poetic, martial language. It instills courage and confidence.
So we've got theology and courage.
Then Tav Prasad Savaye, also by Guru Gobind Singh. These 10 verses primarily reject idolatry, rituals, and the superficialities of external religious observance. They promote internal purity.
Right.
Fourth, Chopai Sahib. This is a powerful hymn offering protection and security, invoking the divine for safeguarding. And finally, Anand Sahib, composed by the third Guru, Guru Amar Das. It expresses the state of bliss and eternal joy you experience by uniting with God.
Wow, so that's a remarkable sequence. Theology, courage, rejection of superstition, protection, and then bliss.
It covers everything you need for the day.
And later in the day, we have the remaining prayers.
In the evening, around sunset, Sikhs recite Re Ras Sahib, which reflects on the day's activities and requests divine guidance. And finally, before bedtime, they recite Sohila Sahib, a prayer for safe passage through the night and beyond.
The sources are really clear that despite this structured list, the faith is quite practical about how the prayers are performed. It emphasizes flexibility over rigidity.
That's a defining characteristic. The content and the intention are far more significant than the setting. Nitnam can be performed anywhere, while commuting, traveling, even quietly reciting mentally during work.
So the core principle isn't about a rigid timetable.
Not at all. It's about ensuring the constant, conscious remembrance of God as much as possible, regardless of where you are.
So the recitation isn't just an exercise in ritual. It is a mechanism for achieving a continuous, loving relationship with the divine.
That is the profound goal. Sikhs believe that the words of the Guru's Gurbani are a direct vehicle. The ultimate aim is to communicate with, meet, and achieve a profound connection with God while still living. Gurbani is the tool for that transformation.
And to maximize that spiritual transmission, the tradition lays out clear guidelines for physical and mental preparation before beginning Nitnam.
Physical and mental readiness are essential. Prerequisites include waking early and washing beforehand, especially in the morning, which helps clear sluggishness. Posture is also critical. Sitting straight with an erect back helps focus the energy and aids concentration.
And mentally, it's about clearing the slate.
Absolutely. The instruction is to center your thoughts entirely on the divine. Before starting, one should clear the mind of daily problems, often by quietly repeating Waheguru or the Mu Mantar. The firm instruction is do not rush.
And consciously resolve not to think about mundane life problems until the prayers are done.
Exactly.
But for anyone who attempts meditation, they know that the mind inevitably wanders. What does the tradition say about overcoming distraction?
The tradition is highly realistic about this. The sources acknowledge that mind wandering is the normal function of the mind to wander. They even cite research on it.
So it's framed not as a failure, but as a challenge to be overcome.
Through abhyas, continuous effort, the Sikh must recognize when the mind has drifted and gently, without judgment, nudge it back to the present moment, back to the words of the Guru.
So if continuous effort is the practice, then correct technical adherence like proper pronunciation and understanding are the tools to aid that effort.
They are vital tools for deepening concentration. You must strive to understand what you are reciting. This is where the distinction between arth and vichar becomes essential.
Okay, what's the difference?
Arth is the surface, literal definition. You can have knowledge, arth of Gurbani, without vichar. Vichar is the deeper, more thorough, comprehensive grasp of the concepts, turning that knowledge into internalized wisdom.
And proper pronunciation and a clear mind are what help the practice transition from mere recital toward that true, transformative wisdom.
That's the goal.
This sounds like a great deal of work, and one might feel discouraged if they haven't yet attained that deep understanding. And that's where the famous parable of Guru Harai and the broken clay pot provides reassurance.
It's a beautiful teaching moment. The Sikhs asked Guru Harai, if we don't fully understand the words, should we keep reading Gurbani? Are we gaining any benefit?
A very practical question.
It is, and Guru Harai didn't give an immediate answer. The next day, he pointed to fragments of a broken clay pot lying in the sun. This pot had previously been used to store ghee, clarified butter.
And as the sun melted, the residual ghee.
Exactly. The ghee, now liquid, was clinging tenaciously to the broken shards. Guru Harai explained the analogy. This is what happens when we sing Gurbani. Even when we don't understand it, when we sing or recite it with devotion, it still sticks to our hearts, just as the ghee has stuck to this pot.
That's a powerful image.
It is, and he offered this profound assurance. Someday the sunlight of knowledge will come into our minds, and then, just like the ghee, the Gurbani that has stuck will melt and transform into true wisdom. He said that even without full comprehension, Gurbani is the seed of our liberation.
It shifts the focus from intellectual achievement to pure devotional effort. And that devotional effort is carried into congregational worship, which is defined by its intensity and its core commitment to equality.
The typical service is intense and structured in 3 powerful sections. It begins with kirtan, the singing of hymns from the Guru Granth Sahib, often accompanied by instruments like the harmonium and tabla.
And this can go on for a while.
It can last for several hours, engaging the congregation very deeply.
After the hymns, the mood becomes more solemn for the centralized prayer, the ardas.
The ardas is the set prayer for the community, reflecting both history and hope. It is structured in 3 mandatory parts. The first and final sections are completely fixed and cannot be altered.
Right.
The first extols the virtues and sacrifices of the 10 gurus, and the final section offers praise to the divine name, Waheguru.
And the middle section is where history meets the present moment.
That's where the political and communal memory resides. The middle part contains a detailed list of the Khalsa's historical troubles, sacrifices, and victories. It memorializes all those who have died or suffered for the faith.
And the congregation responds to this.
Yes, the prayer leader recites it in segments, and the entire congregation responds to each segment with the affirmation, Vaheguru. It is a crucial act of collective remembrance.
The service then concludes with 2 physical acts of communion. First, the sacred food, Karha Prasad.
Karha Prasad is a consecrated sweet pudding. It's made from equal parts raw sugar, clarified butter, and coarse wheat flour. This symbolizes the sweetening of the body and mind through divine grace.
And it's eaten at the end of the service.
Yes, offered directly by the Granthi, and devotees typically offer a small donation as an act of selfless giving.
And the final, globally renowned component, Langar, the free kitchen. This act truly embodies the social revolutionary principles of Guru Nanak.
Langar is perhaps the most visible and powerful expression of Sikhism's core principle of radical equality. It is a free kitchen attached to every gurdwara. Its rule is simple and absolute.
Everyone sits on the floor.
Everyone sits on the floor in a straight line, pangit, irrespective of their wealth, caste, social standing, gender, or religion, to eat a simple vegetarian meal together.
By forcing everyone to sit equally on the floor, the inherent caste distinctions that pervaded Indian society were entirely obliterated in this sacred space.
Exactly. The act of sitting on the floor eliminates the hierarchy where higher castes traditionally refuse to eat alongside lower castes. This practical daily exercise in humility and equality is run entirely by volunteers.
And the sheer scale of this service is astounding. The Golden Temple's langar is almost industrial in its capacity.
It's truly enormous. Records from 2017 showed the langar at the Golden Temple was feeding an average of 100,000 people per day.
100,000.
Per day. Sometimes half again as many on special festival days. And in the diaspora, gurdwaras often extend this service beyond the Sikh community, acting as essential food banks for non-Sikhs.
That's incredible. To conclude the practice section, let's briefly outline the 4 major rites of passage that mark key life transitions in Sikhism.
These 4 ceremonies guide a Sikh through life's major changes. They include the naming ceremony, Namkaran, where the child is given a name based on the hukam.
Right.
Then there's the marriage ceremony, Anand Karaj, a joyous celebration of spiritual union. The initiation into the Khalsa is the Amritsar, or baptism.
And finally, the last rite, Antam Sanskar, the death ceremony.
The Antam Sanskar process is designed to offer spiritual solace. It involves the community and family gathering to read hymns and group prayers. Following this, cremation is the mandated method.
Symbolizing the release of the physical body.
Yes, and the ashes are usually dispersed or dipped into a river, symbolizing the body's return to nature's cycle.
Okay, so we've established the Panth as the collective community and the Rihat Maryada as the communal code. Now we turn to the spiritual warrior identity at the heart of the faith, the Khalsa.
The Khalsa, established by Guru Gobind Singh in 1699, it began as a highly disciplined military order of initiated Sikhs, men willing to die for the faith, embodying the ideal of the Saint Sipahi, the Saint Soldier.
And today, the term refers to all initiated Sikhs.
All initiated Sikhs, both men and women known as Amritdhari, who have undergone the baptism ceremony.
The most immediate and globally recognizable markers of the Khalsa identity are the Panchkakar, the 5 Ks. These are more than symbols. They are mandatory articles of faith.
They are powerful, tangible reminders of the spiritual ideals that bind the initiated Sikh to the discipline of the Guru.
Let's start with Kish, the unshorn hair and beard.
This is perhaps the most sacred and visible marker. It symbolizes the acceptance of God's gift of life and the commitment to live according to the Guru's ideal. It's a rejection of vanity.
Next, Kanga, the small wooden comb.
Kept in the hair, it symbolizes cleanliness and order. It is a reminder that the mind, just like the hair, must be kept neat and disciplined.
Then Kara, the steel bracelet.
Worn on the wrist. It's a circular, unbroken band representing the eternal nature of God and the unending bond with the community. It also reminds you that your hands shouldn't be used for wrongdoing.
Kachera, the cotton shorts.
Historically, they were practical warrior undergarments, but today they represent modesty, chastity, and fidelity.
And finally, Kirpan, the dagger or sword.
The kirpan symbolizes dignity, self-respect, and the moral commitment to actively defend the weak and oppressed, and to reject tyranny wherever it is found. It's the visible embodiment of that saint-soldier ideal.
Collectively, these 5 articles embody honesty, equality, fidelity, remembrance of God, and the commitment to fight injustice. It's vital to note how this required adherence, particularly carrying the kirpan, translates into real-world legal and political challenges in the diaspora.
It creates constant tension with secular law. The need to wear and carry the kirpan sometimes clashes with legal codes prohibiting knives in public spaces. We saw a clear example in 2019 in the UK.
Right, with the offensive weapons legislation.
Yes. The UK government had to amend it to explicitly exempt the kirpan. They had to acknowledge it as a necessary article of faith, not a weapon. Advocacy groups worldwide are constantly working on this.
Let's shift now to the profoundly progressive historical stance of Sikhism regarding women's roles.
The early gurus were social revolutionaries in this regard, especially for the time and place. They actively opposed customs, both Hindu and Muslim, that marginalized women.
Specifically, they spoke out fiercely against the Hindu custom of sati.
The horrific practice where a widow was expected to self-immolate on her husband's funeral pyre, they rejected that completely.
And they rejected the Muslim custom of veiling.
They rejected purdah, which required women to be covered and segregated. The gurus preached that women were equally responsible for their spiritual liberation and should participate fully in public life.
This equality is visibly enforced in the Gurdwara today, extending even to practices where other faiths might impose restrictions.
That's a key marker of egalitarianism. Women are explicitly not excluded from worship or participation during menstruation, which is a common restriction in many other traditions.
And more importantly, they can be leaders.
Yes, women can lead the congregation, they can serve as granthas, and they recite sacred hymns alongside men.
This progressive view was reinforced and standardized during the late 19th and early 20th centuries by the great reform movements.
The Singh Sabha movement was instrumental in codifying this. They promoted religious education for women, emphasizing that they should be versed in Gurbani. And crucially, they standardized the use of Kaur, meaning princess, as the universal surname for Sikh women.
And Singh, meaning lion, for men.
Exactly. This act abolished the public use of caste indicators and reinforced that spiritual equality.
The principles of humility and equality form the foundation of Sikhism, but its history is profoundly shaped by the political and military resistance that resulted from persecution. We have to start with the foundational martyrdom of Guru Arjan Dev Ji in 1606. This event entirely transformed the faith.
This is a turning point. The execution of the fifth guru under Emperor Jahangir introduces martyrdom as a core component of Sikh identity, and we have Jahangir's own account in his memoirs.
What did he say?
He explicitly viewed Guru Arjan as a leader of a false trade that he felt must be either eliminated or forced into the embrace of Islam. The official catalyst for the execution was the Guru's alleged blessing of the rebel Mughal Prince Khusra.
So the Mughal state viewed the Guru as a political threat, not just a religious rival, and the method of execution was particularly brutal.
Extremely. Guru Arjan was put to death with tortures applied according to the Mongol tribal law known as Yasa or Tura. This ancient code was favored by some Mughal rulers because it was specifically designed to be incredibly cruel. It sent a political message.
But the conflict wasn't just high politics or theology. It was deeply intertwined with the agrarian economy and the plight of the common people, particularly the Jat community.
This economic context is essential. The Jats were traditionally agriculturists, relegated to the lower rungs of the social hierarchy. They were flocking to Sikhism because its radical egalitarianism offered them hope and dignity.
And at the same time, the Mughal tax system was suffocating them.
The state was brutally extractive. The Mughal system often demanded 2/3 of the peasants' production as revenue, pushing them to the lowest levels of subsistence. When Guru Arjan arrived, he offered them not just spiritual solace, but tangible economic relief.
How did he achieve that?
He undertook massive public works projects. The most famous is the excavation of a large well with 6 Persian wheels, the chaharta. This provided essential large-scale irrigation.
So it fostered economic independence from the Mughal system.
Exactly. When the Jats faced distress, they covertly resisted the state and found profound comfort and economic security with the Guru. This massive base of support was what the Mughals found truly threatening.
And after the execution, the Mughal administration attempted to control the narrative and shift the public blame away from the emperor himself.
This is an extraordinary example of political machination. Mughal administrators were well aware of Guru Arjan's local enemies, particularly a Hindu official named Chandu Shah. They spread a rumor claiming that the heavy fine imposed by Jahangir was secured by Chandu Shah.
And when the fine wasn't paid?
The rumor stated that Chandu Shah himself took the guru and brutally tortured him to death.
So the blame was successfully shifted onto a Hindu official with a known grudge, making the emperor look relatively innocent.
Precisely. The sources reveal that early Sikh chroniclers were misled by this. They believed the story and created a positive image of Jahangir in their reigns while vilifying Chandu Shah. It took centuries to confirm the emperor's direct role from his own memoirs.
Moving forward several centuries, the next great trauma was the partition of India in 1947, which devastated the Punjab region and involved the Sikh community in horrific communal violence.
Partition was an unimaginable catastrophe, especially for the Sikhs, whose heartland of Punjab was split in two. Communal violence escalated rapidly into genocidal tendencies. In places like Rawalpindi, Muslims attacked or drove out Hindus and Sikhs with brutal efficiency.
And the political leadership at the time contributed to the volatility.
They certainly did. The radical Sikh leader, Master Tara Singh, played a provocative role. On March 3, 1947, outside the Punjab Assembly in Lahore, he famously brandished his kirpan and declared death to Pakistan.
An incredibly inflammatory action.
Which provoked an immediate and violent response, setting off cycles of revenge killings.
And the violence became institutionalized in certain regions, particularly the Sikh princely states.
That's a crucial detail. The violence in East Punjab became highly organized. Sources indicate that in Sikh princely states like Patiala and Faridkot, the rulers allegedly responded directly to calls to cleanse the states of their Muslim populations. The local government and police often provided the logistics.
And the outcome was devastating.
Along the Punjab border, estimates suggest between 2.2 and 3.2 million people went missing, either killed or violently displaced.
That brings us to one of the most painful episodes in modern history, Operation Blue Star in 1984. The prelude was decades of political battle for regional autonomy.
The conflict was rooted in long-standing grievances. It began in the 1950s with the Punjabi Suba movement, demanding a Punjabi-speaking state, which was achieved in 1966.
Yeah.
But tensions remained. After a political defeat, the Akali Dal escalated their demands with the Anandpur Sahib Resolution in 1973.
The resolution itself was careful, declaring its goals within the federal union, yet Prime Minister Indira Gandhi viewed it as a secessionist document.
That interpretation became the justification for state action. The Akali Dal launched the Dharam Yudh Morcha in 1982 to push for the resolution, which was met with increasingly harsh police methods. This repression angered vast segments of the Sikh population.
And in this climate, demands for Khalistan, a separate Sikh homeland, gained currency.
They did, even among moderates. Radical figures like Jarnail Singh Phindranwal became widely popular as symbols of resistance.
And this political standoff culminated in the military assault on the holiest site in Sikhism, the Golden Temple complex. The timing, in particular, suggests deliberate tactical cruelty.
The government's timing was calculated to maximize impact. They waited until the complex was at absolute capacity. The operation commenced on June 3, 1984, which was the annual commemoration day of Guru Arjan's martyrdom.
So the highest number of pilgrims and devotees would be present and trapped inside.
Exactly.
The military leadership tried to control the narrative, framing it purely in terms of counterterrorism.
Alana Jane Jen Kuldip Singh Brar framed the action as being against terrorism, explicitly stating it was not an action against Sikhs or the Sikh religion, but the official framing quickly disintegrated.
Eyewitness accounts provided a chillingly detailed, horrific picture.
Eyewitnesses confirmed the attack was sudden and that no warning was given for civilians to evacuate. Tanks and armored carriers began entering the parikrama, the marble walkway. Accounts detail the horrifying sight of dead bodies of children and women lying around the holy pool.
It's just awful.
One female survivor explicitly recalled that there were no armed militants within the Harmandir Sahib, the inner shrine itself, just priests, musicians, and trapped pilgrims.
The aftermath revealed massive casualty discrepancies and ignited a full-scale insurgency.
The official government figures reported 83 army deaths and 492 civilian deaths. However, independent estimates from journalists and human rights groups put the civilian death toll dramatically higher, up to 5,000 or more.
And the army's conduct after the operations sparked a popular uprising.
Yes. Sikh villagers, hearing about the assault, marched toward the site with farm implements to try and defend the Darbar Sahib. This escalation of violence and the harsh conduct of the army after the operation did irreparable political damage.
The consequence was the organized insurgency that followed, and the Khalistan movement gained widespread support among the Sikh diaspora outside India. The government's attempt to seize the post-facto narrative also failed spectacularly.
The government attempted a damage control campaign, mailing about 50,000 video cassettes to North American Sikhs to rationalize the attack. But the tapes were poor quality and contained phony segments leading to widespread backlash. Furthermore, the government banned a report titled Oppression in Punjab, which charged that the state itself was the major cause of the sustained violence.
Which only confirmed to many that the government had deliberately widened the chasm. Having explored the spiritual foundations and the historical crucible of conflict, we need to look at how modern Sikh identity was consolidated in the face of intense external pressures. I'm thinking of the Singh Sabha movement in the 1870s and the subsequent Akali movement.
These movements were reactions to a deep sense of vulnerability. In the late 19th century, the community faced intense proselytizing from Christian missionaries and competition from revitalized Hindu reform movements like the Arya Samaj.
And the core aim was to redefine and restore Sikh identity.
To restore what they saw as its pristine glory against outside influence, and to clearly propagate the true Sikh religion, emphasizing distinct boundaries and practices.
The early relationship with the Arya Samaj started with some cooperation before becoming deeply antagonistic. How did that initial alliance dissolve?
It's a fascinating diplomatic failure. Early Sikh reformists initially sought coordination with the Arya Samaj, which at the time was espousing a rationalistic Hinduism. The Arya Samaj rejected idol worship, sati, and hereditary priestcraft, all positions that aligned perfectly with Sikh principles.
So where did it go wrong?
The Arya Samaj eventually pivoted and began aggressively attacking other faiths, including Sikhism.
What was the specific theological disagreement?
The Arya Samaj viewed the profound Sikh reverence for the Guru Granth Sahib as akin to idolatry, arguing the faith had simply replaced one form of idol worship with another. They tried to purify Sikhs, urging them to return to a form of Vedic Hinduism. This conflict led to the permanent end of Sikh support for them in 1888.
The reform movements ultimately secured control over the spiritual infrastructure of the community, which was a huge political and practical victory.
That achievement is the major legacy of the Akali movement between 1920 and 1925. This movement successfully secured crucial legal victories like the Anand Marriage Act, which codified Sikh marriage rights. And critically, they achieved the Sikh Gurdwaras Act of 1925.
And this act legally transferred control of the major historical Gurdwaras. Who were they transferring control from?
They were removing control from British-supported, often corrupt, hereditary administrators and Hindu priests, the Mahants and Pujaris. These individuals often treated Gurdwaras as private property. The 1925 Act transferred authority to the newly established SGPC, reestablishing direct Khalsa control.
This codified, distinct identity now faces a unique set of challenges in the global diaspora, especially since September 11, 2001.
The challenges are deeply visible and tragic, stemming directly from the physical markers of the faith, the unshorn quiche and the turban. Since 9/11, Sikh men wearing these articles have frequently been misidentified as Muslim, Arab, or Afghan.
And this misidentification has tragically led to hate crimes.
Yes, the tragic 2012 Wisconsin temple shooting, where a white supremacist attacked the Gurdwara, and the 2021 Indianapolis FedEx shooting, where 4 members of the Sikh community were killed, are painful examples of this.
Which necessitates constant organized advocacy globally. What form does that advocacy take today?
It's comprehensive. They work to ensure that Sikhs are recognized as a distinct ethnic and religious group in various national contexts, like the U.S. Census and in anti-discrimination policies. It's not just about protecting their right to worship. It's fundamentally about ensuring their physical safety.
Finally, we have to acknowledge a complexity within the community that stands in profound contradiction to the faith's original teachings: the persistence of caste practice.
This is a deep irony. Guru Nanak explicitly denounced the caste system, stressing humility and spiritual equality above all social divisions. Yet, despite these clear scriptural mandates, caste is still quietly practiced by some Sikhs.
How does that manifest?
Particularly in marriage practices and in the establishment of caste-specific Gurdwaras in the diaspora.
And what is the dominant caste group within Sikhism?
Most Sikhs belong to the Jat, or agriculturist class, who were originally drawn to the faith seeking that radical egalitarianism. However, Historically influential castes, like the Khatris and Auroras, still wield considerable influence. This persistence shows that overcoming deeply ingrained social structures remains an ongoing internal challenge. What defines modern Sikh identity is this profound synthesis. The rigorous daily spiritual discipline of Nitnem, the unwavering ethical code of the Rihat Maryada, and the identity markers of the Khalsa. All of this was forged in the enduring crucible of historical struggle, from Mughal martyrdoms and the economic resistance of the Jats through the traumas of partition to the violation of Operation Blue Star.
So it's a combination of knowledge and action.
The combination of knowledge found in Gurbani and action represented by the Khalsa and the universal service of Langar sustains this unique global presence.
It is a remarkable journey. The transition from Guru Nanak's simple spiritual principle to a globally recognized warrior identity is profound. Guru and I have taught. One whose heart is mercifully blessed with abiding humility, O Nanak, is liberated here and obtains peace hereafter. Given the history of systemic persecution, from the Mongol Yasa law used against Guru Arjan to the modern necessity for Sikhs to assert their distinct identity against external tyranny and misunderstanding, how does the collective strength of the path and the unwavering adherence to visible identity markers, the 5Ks, serve as a modern testament to that ultimate foundational principle of humility and liberation? It seems to suggest that for Sikhs, true liberation is not merely a private internal piety, but the fiercely protected public ability to live out that piety in the world, often requiring the ultimate courage to stand against injustice.
Thanks for tuning into Sanara's Deep Dive. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future episodes. I bring you fresh content every week. Thanks for listening.